Hello everyone, welcome to Hatha Yoga. My name is Michelle Chua. Please grab your usual props that you might use, a couple of yoga blocks or pillows, a strap and a blanket. Let's begin standing. We had some conversation before this class began and it sounds like we have quite a bit of energy. So let's begin in a standing forward fold, separating your feet wider than hips distance apart, parallel. Now, if you're feeling any kind of need to open the fronts of your shoulders right away, go ahead and interlace your fingers behind your back or hold a strap between your hands. Otherwise, you can place your hands on your hips and take a deep inhale, open your chest, lift it up, roll the shoulders back, and then bending your knees generously. Exhale, bowing forward. Try to keep a sort of a flat back here so you can bend your knees so much that your spine is not struggling to lengthen. So if your hands were on your hips, you could catch hold of opposite elbows if you like, or just lower the hands in front of you. Otherwise, if your hands are clasped, you're going to stretch them forward away from your lower back even more while lifting your shoulders up away from your neck. Letting the blood flow in reverse, you might even begin to sway your spine gently side to side. Explore any movement of your skull so you can loosen your neck. Take some sounding breaths out to your mouth, any kind of sound. Howling, oming, fluttering your lips, big sigh. Just tune into what are you feeling in your body right now as we're hanging upside down. What are you feeling in any of the other realms? Emotions, mind, spirit, energy. And if your hands are clasped, go ahead and lower them in front of you on blocks or the floor so that you can slowly lift the spine parallel to the floor, rising halfway for a few breaths. And as you do that, allow more weight to shift forward towards the front of your heels. Imagine pressing your heart through the gates of your arms as you look towards the tip of your nose and soften your shoulder heads back. Taking a few more breaths here, can you lengthen even further from your outer hips to your outer armpits, again, bending the knees as generously as needed, and even lifting the belly slightly towards your back, offering it support. 2 more deep breaths in through the nose. Any sound you'd like out to your mouth. Ha. 1 more. And then bend your knees even more here. Bring your hands to your hips. Lifting from your chest, inhale slowly to rise. And then let's come on down to any comfortable seat, whether you sit on your shins, bring your legs in front to cross. Take a moment to rock side to side, left and right, and even front and back, feeling the 4 points of your pelvis below, the pubic bone, the tailbone, and the left and right sitting bones. Perhaps even circling your spine, beginning to loosen around your hips and lower back. Or gently circle your shoulders, rolling them forward and up, back and down. Or maybe even softly, slowly circling your head. So as you do that for a few more breaths, beginning to deepen your breath, if you can with a mouth closed, so that you start to warm up by just breathing through your nose. Here's a short quote by Deepak Chopra. The universe operates through dynamic exchange. Giving and receiving are different aspects of the flow of energy in the universe. And in our willingness to give that which we seek, we keep the abundance of the universe circulating in our lives. The eighth limb of yoga we're highlighting this week is samadhi. That state of bliss that comes from letting go of all the stuff that we've learned that are delusions of our separateness from each other, from all aspects of this world, and remembering that we are part of the same. It's that deep sense of unity consciousness. And in meditations from the mat, well, first of all, samyama is the last 3 limbs of yoga. They're called samyama. It's the meditation practices from dharana, concentration, dhyana, meditation, to samadhi, that state of bliss, which naturally emerges through time. So it says here in meditation from the mat, in samyama, we become aware of life as thought and energy. The most complex physical movement is, at the same time, an idea. The most profound insight, an energetic opening. In the stillness of samyama, these meditative practices, we connect to the eternal dance of energy and matter. No beginning, no end. Eternal dance of energy and matter. Just feeling that harmony of the greater picture we're all a part of. Maybe even set your hands in your heart, or one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly, as you feel the rhythms of life flowing through your physical body. Maybe your heart beating, pulsation of your own breath. You might even feel a vibration of the earth below. Just allow a moment here in stillness to connect to all that you are a part of, that you can be aware of. The air that we give and receive through our inhales and exhales, and share with each other. Allow a moment perhaps to set your intention, establish a personal mantra or prayer dedication for this practice. Whatever makes it most meaningful to you as you align mind, body, spirit. I'd like to invite you to chant with me several times Om, creating a sense of resonance, feeling the physical vibration of sound. So just starting and stopping whenever you feel ready, whenever it feels natural. Take a deep inhale. And now, as you continue to just breathe through your nose, I invite you to practice with me Bhastrika Pranayama, a breath technique that helps to enliven and cleanse your lungs, as well as energize you while helping to calm the mind, clear the mind. So it's breathing using your diaphragm, abdominal breathing, filling up the lungs completely, and exhaling equally in length through the nose, a rhythm that you can keep consistent. So really focusing on that bellow quality of expanding and softening belly and lungs. And with that, the physical practice is bending the elbows apart, making fists with your hands. And as you inhale, raising your arms straight up, fingers spread wide. And as you exhale, rebending your elbows apart and refisting your hands like this. So doing what you can, I'm going to set the timer for this Bhastrika Pranayama for 1 minute. Ready? Begin. relax. Relax your breathing for a moment just to notice any effects of that breath work. Let's begin Ujjayi Pranayama, in which you sustain your breath equally in and out to your nose while softly narrowing the back of your throat, so you create this faint whispering sound. Slowly filling up your belly and lungs, 4 walls of your rib cage, and lengthening the exhale just as much. And with those long, conscious breaths, let's make our way into child's pose. Come on down to your knees. Bring your inner edges of your feet to touch. Knees can be together or apart. Extending your arms forward. Let's straighten the arms without resting the elbows on the floor, so you're actively finding that length forward and back. As you reach through your fingertips towards the front of your mat, draw your shoulders and hips further back. Find a slight lift of your belly, so it's not completely resting downward, it's slightly lifting into your back to help support its length. And then from here, begin right side, however far you can reach while keeping your pelvis down close to your feet. And invite some deeper breaths along the left side of your rib cage, torso. You might even explore stepping your left hand on top of your right hand, or flaring your right elbow towards the sky, crawling the right fingertips further off to the right. 2 more breaths. And then slowly walk your hands through center, reaching over to the left. And reaching the hands outside of your mat here as you draw your right sitting bone down towards your right heel. Allowing breath to take up space along the right side of your torso. You might step your right hand on top of the left. You might crawl your left fingertips further out to the left and bend the elbow up. 2 more breaths. And then walking your hands forward, rock forward onto your hands and knees, all fours, to begin a few rounds of cat-cow. But let's set up the hands so that you can stretch your inner wrists as well, spinning out your fingertips, whatever degree they can, facing the left and right or rear edges of your mat. Have your knees a couple inches behind your hips, and on your next inhale, draw your heart forward, coiling your chest up as you drop the shoulders back. While exhaling, contract your belly, look down between your knees, tuck your tailbone under, round your back. Taking several more at the sound and pace of your own breath. Cat-cow. Vidalasana. Remember, as we move through vinyasas, which include plank pose, lowering into chaturanga, into cobra or upward dog, you could also replace that small sequence with a few rounds of cat-cow if you prefer to. Prepare to come into downward facing dog, so spin your index fingers to both face forward parallel to each other. Spread your thumbs towards each other. Find a slight gripping underneath each fingertip as you root the base of your thumb and index fingers to the floor. When you're ready, feet apart, hips distance, tuck your toes. With bent knees, lift your hips as high as you can to your rear wall. Try to create a feeling of a flat back here. Belly drawing in. Take a moment if you'd like to shift around in your own way before holding still. Can you open up space in your neck and shoulders here by completely dropping your skull, lifting your shoulder heads back away from your neck, and rotating your outer upper arms to face the floor. broadening your shoulder blades apart. Find the highest lift of your sitting bones and then draw them back as you sink your heels deeper and deeper towards the ground, whether or not they touch the floor. Now, steadying your eyes on one spot towards your feet, let's steady the breath for 3 more cycles here. Adho Mukha Svanasana. So taking that sequence I mentioned as the vinyasa. Inhale, glide forward into your version of plank pose, top of a push-up. Shoulders over wrists, knees on the floor, legs straight. Exhale, glide forward, bend your elbows to hug your side ribs, lowering through Chaturanga Dandasana. First one, let's come all the way down. Point your toes on the ground, press every toenail on the floor. Hug your elbows close to your side ribs. Wrists are alongside your floating ribs. And as you breathe in, peel the fronts of your shoulders behind you, draw the shoulder blades down, and extend your sternum forward, looking down ahead. Cobra pose. With an exhale, gently lower your chest, your chin or forehead. And let's come up and down for 2 more cycles of breath. Inhale into Cobra pose. Broaden your collarbones, extend your sternum forward. Exhale, gently lower. This last one, either Cobra or Upward Facing Dog, where you lift your pelvis. Breathing in into your back bend. Use an exhale to contract your belly. Lift your hips back into Downward Facing Dog. You're going to walk your hands back towards your feet, arriving at the rear of your mat in a forward fold. Make sure your feet are parallel, at least hips width apart. Press your fingertips either on your shins or the ground in front of your feet. Inhale, lift your chest and lengthen the crown of your head forward. Halfway up. Exhale, fold in. Legs strong, knees can be bent here. Inhale, sweep your arms, rising all the way up to stand. Watch your palms meet. Exhale, trace your thumbs down your center line. Let's walk up to the top of your mat. Flowing into 2 rounds of Sun Salutation A, Surya Namaskar A, 1 breath per movement. Inhale, circle your arms overhead. Watch your palms meet. Exhale, bow from your hips with a feeling of a flat back. Remember, you could bend your knees. Press down on the floor, your legs. Inhale, rise halfway up. Step into your version of plank and glide forward, exhaling through Chaturanga. Choosing Cobra or Upward Dog, root down through the tops of your feet and coil your chest open. With an exhale, hollow your belly, lift your hips into Downward Facing Dog. And this time, let your body and gaze be steady. About 3 more cycles of breath. Bend your knees, lift your heels and hips high. Look just past your hands. After you empty this breath, hold it out, lift your pelvic floor and walk or lightly jump to the top of your mat. From a forward fold, inhale, lift your chest, lengthen halfway. Exhale, fold in. Press down through your feet, inhale, rise all the way up. Look up, palms meet. Exhale, tracing your midline, mountain pose. 1 more. Inhale, circle your arms up. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, lengthen halfway up. Either step to plank or float into Chaturanga to lower. Follow along into your Cobra or Upward Facing Dog. Exhale back to Downward Facing Dog. 3 to 5 breaths here. Bending your knees, look ahead of your hands. Bottom of your exhale, walk or float to the top. Let your feet come together this time, and if you have yoga blocks, please place them a foot in front of your feet on their tallest height, shoulders width apart. Bend your knees together, coming into a chair pose. And then join your hands together at your heart as you stay in chair. Shifting your weight entirely onto your left foot, turn out your right leg from the hip. Flexing your right foot, lift it, and cross your right ankle over your left thigh like a figure 4 shape. Use the contact of right ankle, left thigh to splay open your right thigh at the hip. Send your 2 hips back. Try to stack your left bent knee just over your left heel so it's not protruding forward of the heel. Belly lifted, gazing forward. Maybe you explore with your arms up. Maybe you explore lowering your hands on blocks. Let's take another 4 cycles of breath. Make sure you're still flexing your right foot here, spreading the toes and curling them up towards your right kneecap to help stabilize your knee. Using your drishti or gaze steadied on one spot to help you balance as well. Last breath here. Now, if your hands are down, please bring them to your heart. Step your right foot right next to the left. Come back to that chair pose. Begin to shift your weight entirely onto your right foot. Slow motion, pick up your left foot, flex it, and then slowly kick it back as though it's trying to press into the rear wall. So you're moving through Warrior 3. Maybe you linger in Warrior 3. Maybe you place your hands on blocks. And you'll eventually step your left foot to the rear of your mat and cartwheel your arms apart into Warrior 2. Take your time. When you arrive with both feet on the ground, see that your right heel aligns with the arch of your left foot. Your left leg is straight and slightly turned inward. Your right knee is bent right over the heel, and you're wrapping your right sitting bone underneath your body. Feel a slight lift of your frontal hip bones as you try to vertically lengthen your spine. Stacking your shoulders right over your hips and your wrists right over your ankles, arms wide open, gazing just past your right hand. Let's take another 4 breaths here in Virabhadrasana 2. Pressing down through both feet, straighten your right leg to prepare for triangle pose. You may want to shorten your stance 2 to 3 inches. Glide your hips sideways towards the rear edge of your mat. Reach your right hand forward like you're trying to touch your front wall as far as you can before lowering that hand either onto your right leg, just not pressing into your kneecap, or to the right of your leg, directly under your right shoulder, where you could press your arm and leg against each other for added stability. Notice your breath. Keep wrapping your right sitting bone underneath. And now reaching your tailbone back towards your outer left heel as you lengthen the top of your head forward towards your front wall and spiral your chest upwards slightly to face the sky. And if it feels okay on your neck, steady your gaze up just past your left thumb. Otherwise, adjust where you're looking. Another 4 deep breaths. Utthita Trikonasana. Sweep your left arm overhead. Find that lateral extension along the left side of your waist. Breathe into it. Now shifting forward into half moon pose, you may want to bring your left hand to your left hip as you transition. Steady your gaze on the ground just ahead of your right foot. Bend your right knee. Walk your right fingertips about 6 inches forward of your right pinky toe and off to the right corner on the block or on the floor. Drag your left foot forward and flex the foot, lifting your left leg parallel to the ground, tracing the midline of your mat. Notice that your thighs are oriented very similarly to your triangle pose. That left thigh is slightly turned inward and that right thigh is completely turned out. Now you might explore raising your left arm, stacking your wrists. As you turn your chest completely to face your left wall, find one point to gaze at. Another 4 breaths in Ardha Chandrasana. Now begin to sweep your left arm overhead like we did in triangle pose. Look down at your 2 blocks. Lower your hands onto your 2 blocks or just a foot ahead of your front foot and rotate your left thigh to face down. So now your hips are squared. If you wanted, you could balance a book across your lower back. You're in a modified warrior 3. And as you breathe in, can you tack your right hip back and extend the crown of your head forward while flexing your left heel towards your rear wall? As you breathe out, can you accentuate the lift of your navel towards your spine, softening your shoulder blades down your back? Now you can use your blocks and walk them closer to your right foot here, slowly stepping your left foot back to prepare for pyramid pose. So the left foot is a little off to the left, so your feet are hips width apart. Entire soles of both feet are rooted to the ground. Legs are straight, both hips are facing forward. It's a slightly shorter stance than Warrior 2 was. Now as you inhale, lift your chest, look forward. And as you exhale, hinge from your hips. Let's take this forward fold for a few breaths. So as you're folding to your own degree, can you maintain that feeling of a flat back, keeping your throat open, your shoulders relaxed away from your neck, as well as the evenness of your 2 hips facing forward? Parsvottanasana. 2 more breaths. Now activating the front muscles of your thighs or your quadriceps. Firm in your belly and inhale, lift your spine halfway up. Preparing for a twist. So you can keep your left hand just where it is, or you can explore crossing it to the outside of your right foot on a block of the floor. Using your right thumb to hook the outer crease of your right hip, draw it back. Keep the alignment of your 2 hips squared and elongate the crown of your head further forward, tracing the midline of your mat. With your exhale, rotate your chest to face your right wall little by little each breath. Inhales, reground your feet, energize your legs, and lengthen your spine. You might explore raising your right arm here and begin to stack your wrists and shoulders in revolved triangle pose or Parita Trikonasana. Let's take 3 more breaths. Take a look at your right foot. Lower your 2 hands to frame it. Inhale, lift your chest, lift your spine halfway up. Exhale, step your left foot next to the right, forward fold at the top of your mat. Let your feet come to touch. Set your 2 blocks a foot in front of your feet, tallest height, shoulders width apart. Bend your knees together and come back to chair pose. Join your hands at your heart. Steady your gaze in one spot to help you balance, shifting your weight onto your right foot now. Flexing your left foot. Turn out your left leg from the hip, creating a figure 4 shape as you cross your left ankle on top of your right thigh. And again, use that contact of left ankle, right thigh to help splay open your left thigh at the hip while trying to evenly draw your sitting bones back and down. Now feel that your right knee is stacked just above your right ankle rather than protruding forward of your ankle. Belly drawing in, slightly lifted, calm, easy breathing. You might explore raising your arms or lowering your hands onto your blocks or the floor. Keep flexing your left foot. We're here for 4 more breaths. This posture is called preparation for flying single pigeon. But as you might feel, we're using it as a hip opener. All right, stay in the pose, but bring your hands together at your heart. Steady your gaze and breath, and come back to a regular chair pose, stepping your left foot next to the right. Then shift your weight entirely onto your left foot. Preparing for that slow transition through Warrior 3. Flex your right foot and press the heels slowly back, extending the leg behind you, lengthening the spine forward. You can lower your hands on your blocks if you want some more support here. Turn your right hip to face the ground. Lift your navel as you draw your sternum and crown towards your front wall. How's your breathing? And when you feel like you're ready, softly step your right foot towards the rear of your mat, cartwheel your arms, and land Warrior 2. Nice transitions. And just feel or see that your left heel lines up to the arch of your right foot. Your right leg is turned in slightly and is straight. Your left leg, knee is bent just on top of the heel as you wrap the sitting bone underneath. Your pelvic bowl is as neutral and upright as possible to invite spaciousness in your spine. With the arms wide open, your wrists stack above your ankles, shoulders are relaxed as you steady your gaze just past your left hand. Now feel into 4 more cycles of breath in Virabhadrasana 2. Pressing the earth with both feet, straighten your front leg, and you may want a slightly shorter stance, like 2 to 3 inches less for triangle pose. Glide your hips sideways towards your rear wall while reaching your left hand towards your front wall. Go as far in that reach as you can before lowering the hand on your leg, or just to the left of your leg, right under your shoulder, where you could firm your arm and leg against each other. Keep wrapping your left sitting bone underneath your body, and now direct your tailbone to lengthen towards your right outer heel. Crown towards the front wall as you spin your chest slightly to face the sky. Maybe you're looking up towards your right thumb. Wherever you choose to look, steady your eyes, but soften your gaze. 4 more breaths. Utthita Trikonasana. Staying a little longer here, sweep your right arm overhead towards your front wall, just inviting a little more extension through your right side body. Breathe into your right ribs. Keep softening your shoulders away from your neck. And now to prepare for half moon pose, you may want to place your right hand on your right hip in the transition. Gaze at the ground just ahead of your left foot and bend your left knee. Shift your weight forward, crawling your left fingertips on a block or the floor, upper left corner from your left pinky toe. Drag your right foot forward and flex the foot as you raise the leg parallel to the floor, tracing the midline of your mat. Feel your shoulders both stack above your left wrist as you turn your chest completely to face your right wall. Maybe raise your right arm up, maybe look up. But again, find one point to gaze at. About 4 more breaths in Ardha Chandrasana. Now sweeping your right arm overhead like we did in triangle, find a little more extension in the right side waist. Breathe into it. Look down at your blocks or just ahead of your left foot. Lower your two hands just in front of your left foot and spiral your right thigh to face the floor in modified warrior 3 or variation of warrior 3. So your hands are about a foot in front of your front foot. Your hips are squaring now like you could balance a book across your lower back. Belly is strong, lifting in support of the spine. Long line of energy from crown of the head, tailbone to right heel. Keeping your breath steady, slowly step your right foot back, about 2/3 as far back as you had in Warrior 2. Keep your hips facing forward, so separate your feet sideways, about hips distance apart. Now the blocks are probably framing your left ankle or calf. Ground your feet entirely as you straighten your legs, preparing for pyramid pose. Inhale, lift your chest, draw your shoulder blades back. Exhale, begin to hinge forward from your hips, breath by breath. Just stay active in your legs. Spread your toes so they're not gripping the mat. Root downward to rebound and lift upward, feeling energy rise up to your legs. Engaging your quadriceps, firming your belly. Ardhva-Uttanasana, 3 more breaths. Now inhale, lift your spine halfway up, preparing for a twist. Either keep your right hand where it is or cross it to the left side of your left ankle. Use your left thumb to hook the outer crease of your left hip, slightly tacking it back as you draw the crown of your head forward to trace the midline of your mat. Take a deep in-breath. Feet are steady here. Exhale, spiral your chest slightly to face your left wall. Taking your time, breath by breath, exploring the range of your spinal twist. Maybe raising your left arm. Revolved triangle pose. Harita Trikonasana. Last 2 breaths. Look down at your left foot. Lower your hands to frame it. Inhale, lift your chest, look halfway up. Exhale, step your right foot next to the left, forward fold. Bend your knees, feet together, chair pose. Inhale here. Exhale, fold forward for sun salutation B, a continuous flow. Inhale, lift halfway up. Step to plank or float to chaturanga as you breathe out to lower. Inhale, your choice of back bend. Exhale, downward dog, 1 breath each movement. Inhale, raise your right leg back, keeping your hips squared. Exhale, lightly step your foot inside of your right hand, spin the back heel down, face forward. Inhale, rise to warrior 1. With the exhale, lower into your vinyasa through chaturanga dandasana. Inhale, lifting the chest. Exhale, lifting the hips, side 2. Inhale, raise your left leg, hips squared. Exhale, lightly step the foot inside of left hand, spin the back heel down. Inhale, rise to warrior 1, facing forward. Exhale, lower through chaturanga. Inhale, lifting your heart space. Exhale, drawing your hips back. Landing in downward dog here for 3 to 5 breaths. Steady gaze. Bend your knees, look past your hands. After you empty the breath, walk or float to the top of your mat. Inhale, lengthen halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Bend your knees, inhale, chair pose. Extend your arms forward and exhale. Slowly lower your sitting bones to sit on the floor, lifting your feet, legs together in boat pose. Inhale in boat. You could hold your legs or the floor if you like. Exhale, relax your shoulders. Inhale, lift your pelvic floor. Think of restacking each vertebra from bottom up. Exhale, soften the face. Inhale. Exhale, 4. Deep inhale. Exhale, 3. Navasana. Inhale. Exhale, 2. Deep breath. Great teamwork, everyone. Exhale, 1. Lower your feet to the floor. Press your feet down, lift your spine up, and then take a few breaths to very slowly lower your back onto the ground. Taking your time here to feel the activation of your various core muscles that support your spine, from neck to glutes and all around, front, back, and sides. When your head meets the earth, splay your arms wide on the ground like a T. Lift your legs, bending your knees to stack just over your hips, shins parallel to the floor. So we're about to take a moving twist, and as we're flowing side to side, try to keep both shoulders on the ground. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, slowly lower your legs to the right to hover them as close to the floor as you can without lifting your left shoulder from the ground. Very slowly inhale, lift your knees up to center again. Nice and controlled movements. Exhale, hover to the left. Right shoulder stays down. So about 4 more on each side. Inhale, center. You might choose to straighten your legs as you do this. Exhale, hover right. Inhale, center. And just follow the pace of your own breath. Exhale, hover left. Inhale. Exhale, right. Inhale up. Exhale, left. 2 more on each side. Breathe in. Notice the difference when you're smiling. Can you feel the energy of a smile affect your whole body? Inhale. And even your breathing. Exhale, left. It might sound cheesy, but see for yourself how it feels. Exhale, right. Last one. Inhale. And exhale, left. Inhale. And draw your bent knees into your chest. Begin to rock and roll forward and back several times here, building some momentum. You might even pass lightly through plow pose where the legs reach over the head. You might even land forward into a squat and then into plow pose. A couple more. Oops. And as you come back into that forward fold, top of your mat, heel toe your feet apart, either mat width or wider, because we're going to come into a spinal twist here. So reach your hands forward on blocks or the floor. Spine is parallel to the ground. Set your left hand front and center just beneath your chest. As you raise your right arm up, send your left sitting bone towards your rear wall to try to keep your hips even. Reach the crown of your head forward, breathe in. Exhale, spiral your chest to face your right wall. Feel the reach up to your right fingertips, help to open the front of your right shoulder. A few more breaths here. Keep lengthening your spine through your inhales, sending the shoulder blades down onto your back ribs. firm your outer hips towards your midline to stabilize your lower back as you continue to twist. 2 more deep breaths. Then on your next exhale, lower your right hand in place of the left. Inhale, lengthen the crown of your head forward. Exhale, draw your right sitting bone back, but spiral your chest to face your left wall as you raise your left arm up. Breath by breath, exploring the range of your twist here. On your exhale, lower your left hand and then heel toe your feet, hips distance apart. Come on down to hands and knees, preparing for either dolphin pose, downward facing dog, or headstand, Shirshasana. So if you're taking dolphin or Shirshasana, let's start together. Extend your arms forward, wrap your outer upper arms towards the floor so you can really find that external rotation of your upper arms to open up across your shoulders. Plug your shoulder blades down onto your back ribs, and then interlace your fingers. Root your elbows onto the ground exactly shoulders distance. For dolphin, don't put your head down, and just tuck your toes, lift your hips. For headstand, place the top of your head on the ground so the back of your skull is very lightly supported by the inner webbing of your palms. And as you press your forearms down, lift your shoulders up so you have a lot of space in your neck, and then tuck your toes. Begin to tiptoe your feet closer to your face, maybe lifting one leg as you keep your hips squared, flexing the lifted foot, keeping it straight. Maybe you hover the bottom foot or bend that knee towards your belly. Maybe straighten both legs. But if you're coming into headstand, remember not to swing your legs or kick up like you might do for handstand. You don't want your neck to carry the burden of the shock, of absorbing the shock. So if you are in downward facing dog, you could explore lifting one leg, keeping your hips squared, like we practiced in Warrior 3, and then switching legs. So we're here for about a minute altogether in your chosen inversion before you decide to meet us in child's pose to rest. And when you do land in Balasana in child's pose, feel free to place your arms wherever you like. Allow a few moments there to rest, reconnect with calm, even breaths. With your hands alongside your knees in child's pose, inhale to roll your spine upright, one vertebra at a time. Sitting at the center of your mat, step your feet in front of your pelvis to prepare for bridge pose or restorative bridge using a block under your sacrum. Come on down to your back again. If you're taking the active bridge pose, you may like to hug that skinny width of the block right between your thighs for added traction for your lower back. Find your feet by extending your arms alongside your rib cage and then sliding your feet back until you could almost touch your heels with your fingertips, but not quite, just almost. Make sure that your feet are parallel, as wide apart as your thighs. And then ground your shoulders, press through your feet, tilt your chin back slightly away from your chest, tilt your tailbone up, towards the block to lift your pelvis. Rising into your degree of bridge pose. Walk your upper arms closer together under your back ribs. Your arms straight, maybe interlace your fingers. And take about 5 to 10 breaths. We're only practicing this posture once. Most of it, as well as your breathing, it encourages. Lengthen the fronts of your thighs forward as they remain parallel to each other, slightly spinning your inner thighs towards the floor without pigeon-toeing your feet. Notice how this posture feels in your breathing, or how it affects your breathing. And when you're done with Setubandha Sarvangasana, gently lower on an exhale, one vertebra at a time. Take a moment, if you're not in restorative bridge, to just let your knees fall together side to side into a gentle moving twist. Just help loosen your lower back, massage it against the floor before you come up into a cooling inversion of your choice. And that could be using the block under your sacrum into a supported shoulder stand, lifting the legs straight up. Maybe it's using a blanket folded, positioned about 1.5 feet away from the rear edge of your mat so you can lie in that blanket. Smooth folded portion facing the rear of your mat, with your shoulder heads just about 1.5 inches away from the folded edge of the blanket. And the purpose of the blanket for shoulder stand is to maintain space behind your neck, so you're not flattening your neck onto the floor. Bringing your elbows to plug into the ground, just hugging your side ribs. Use your hands to help lift your pelvis. Salamba Sarvangasana, maybe Halasana, plow pose. So take your version of a cooling inversion, another minute. And remember, if you are in shoulder stand or plow, another thing to keep your neck safe is to not move your head side to side once you've lifted your back off the floor. These inversions are wonderful to promote circulation throughout your body. Taking your time to gently lower your body from your chosen inversion. Let's meet in fish pose, so there's no more props under your body for fish. Let your legs straighten forward, feet together and relaxed. Then slip your palms face down underneath your glutes so that your thumbs can touch. Press your elbows and forearms into the floor and puff up your chest, tilting your chin back. To whatever degree you can. You might bring the top of your head to the floor so that you're seeing your rear wall upside down. And then take about 5 deep exhalations, cleansing breaths like lion's breath, where you stick out your tongue, open your mouth wide, open your eyes wide, maybe even eyes crossed. And when you're done with fish pose, release your arms from underneath. Either catch hold of your bent knees and hug them into your chest, or come into happy baby pose. And as you begin to let go of controlling your breathing, maybe with a few last deep exhales, find whatever props you may need to support your body in the most comfortable Shavasana. Closing your eyes as you land in that corpse pose. Allow each natural breath out to melt your body into trusting the support underneath. As you lie in Shavasana a bit longer, take notice of how you have affected the way you feel in your body, in your mind, and spirit, to your physical practice and pranayama, breath practice of yoga. And if you'd like to join me sitting for 5 minutes of meditation, and please begin to move your body gently. Start with small parts like your fingers and toes, maybe your head gently turning. So the transitions in themselves are with mindfulness and care. There's honoring in the movement, the journey, not only as seeking a goal, a destination. Just like meditation itself. And as one movement graduates into a larger movement, in your own way, find your way into a seating position. Take a moment to make any slight adjustments so your body feels cared for and can relax, be still and calm. Maybe placing palms on your lap, or taking a mudra of your choice. Now, for this meditation, which won't really be guided, just starting off, I invite you to choose your object of focus, whether it be a candle that's right at eye level in front of you, or some simple object to gaze at, keeping the eyes open, or a focus inward, like the natural flow of your breath, or a personal mantra, phrase that you mentally repeat to yourself. Or maybe you're steadying your focus on a particular sensation in your body and just observing it. So whatever that point of focus, allow yourself the freedom to commit to it and to come back to it as many times as needed in these 5 minutes. Knowing that that within itself is part of the practice of entering meditation. And so I've already started the timer, finding ease with each new breath, softening deeper into presence, intentional attention. As a new thought may enter, or a new stimulus catch your attention, remember that you can simply let go of following it and rest back into your object of focus. Gently bringing your palms to meet at your heart and bowing in. This gesture of honoring the source within you, the source within all of us, that we're all a part of. Let's close with one chant of Om. Take a deep breath. The light in me bows to the light in you. Namaste.